Hi everybody who's following my build thread. Today what I'm looking at is I finally got my vacuum tank from Saikou Michi. Now this is a one-of-a-kind. They don't typically do this, but I made a special request and they were kind enough to take care of me on that. So this is an S0 custom vacuum tank. They're replacement on my Genesis Coupe. And this, which you guys all have, but have never seen before in full, is my new intake manifold. Now, a little bit, I'm going to cover this intake manifold completely when I get it back after it's been P&P'd. But to basically kind of go over a couple of things, is it used to be an automatic manifold, as you can see here from the lack of a hole, but I piloted a hole there. And you'll notice that there are two extra fittings down here, and there seems to be a big chunk missing out of here. Well, this chunk missing out of here used to be the vacuum tank, which isn't there anymore. I took that out, and that's where this comes in. And you might be thinking, well, why wouldn't you just keep the stock vacuum tank if you're just going to put another vacuum tank in? And well, the simplest answer is because I can. I like to do things a little bit different. I like to do things a little bit unique, and this just happened to be one way of doing it. The weight that it is at right now is 5.3 pounds, I believe. And at 5.3 pounds, I'm still a little bit less than a pound heavier than a 2013 plastic intake manifold, except mine's cast. So, to find out how much weight this one little tank is going to save me. Now you got to understand that this isn't a Formula 1 car. This isn't something everybody's going to do, and honestly a couple of grams doesn't matter all that much in the long scheme of things, because I mean that's the difference between a burrito or not. But we should probably do that this way. But just to give you an idea, now this is with brass fittings, and I'm going to be switching to aluminum fittings, so I'm going to shave about 10 grams or so by doing that. And I'm at 164 grams with the Saikou Michi aluminum vacuum tank. And you might go, it seems kind of heavy. This is my bucket of all the metal pieces that I took off when I took the vacuum tank off. Now this is just the vacuum tank. So here's one of those standoffs. And this little midget in there is another one of the standoffs on the bottom. And then there's a steel cap there. So this isn't even all of it. This is just the big chunks that I was able to take off. And that's 438 grams. And that's not even all of it. So I've shaved 300 grams, or almost about 200 grams shy of a pound off. So, or I guess you could do the math, and I guess you'd end up with about 200, about half a pound that I've shaved off just by switching to this vacuum tank. And to me, half a pound is half a pound, and it brings me closer to my goal, which is to get this system as light as possible, just for shits and giggles, but without running the risk of blowing it apart. I've got two ports that I've put in here, and the reason for the ports is to make sure that I have plenty of flow to my vacuum tank, which plugs in here. You'll see I got the stock check valve in here, and boost comes up here, closes the valve, engine goes into vacuum, starts applying vacuum to the tank. This hose here comes off and goes to the solenoid valve. And a lot of people might be going, well, why don't you just put the intake manifold directly to the bypass valve, or your blow-off valve, whatever you want to call it. And the reason for that is because the ECU actually has some safety features built in that I want to maintain, such as turbo overboost and stuff like that. And I'd like to maintain those because I like my block. So this is the setup that I'm going to go with, is I'm going to be maintaining the factory solenoid control system, but I'm just going to be adding a little bit of engine bling and some fancy blue hose and a bunch of little blue nipples all over the place. And that's basically it. That's the catch can. That's not catch can. So used to saying catch can all these months. That's the vacuum tank. Once the vacuum tank's actually going to be installed in my car in a couple of days, and I'm going to be running it just to make sure that I haven't overstretched myself, and that this is actually going to work, and that the volume of this tank is sufficient. Because I actually did a little bit more math and found out that this is slightly smaller in volume than the original factory tank is. But I'm going to do a hydro test on my other manifold when it comes off to verify the volume. But this is about 260, 280 milliliters. So not quite a pop can worth of vacuum, and got to find out if that's enough. The manifold will be getting shipped off to get ported and polished. A little bit of extrude honing on the inside just to make sure that everything's nice, and then it'll get media blasted for uniformity, and then it's better to show you guys. And then it'll get coated. The coating process is mostly for looks, not for any thermal management or anything like that. My engine bay temperatures don't actually get all that hot, in my opinion, and the amount of heat soak that I'll get is going to be negated by the Grimspeed phenolic spacer anyways. So I'll be keeping this nice and cool. I'm going to be putting a bypass system on the throttle body coolant, so in the winter time it's open and in the summertime it's closed. Keep a little bit better air temperature management for the summertime. And then you guys will see this again in a little bit. Now, coming up, so hopefully in the next week or so, the exhaust manifold will be coming up from Grimspeed, so you guys pay attention for that. Got it completely ported, all done up, so we're going to be doing a review on it, letting you guys take a closer look at it, a little bit more in depth than what you typically get in pictures. So definitely subscribe, pay attention for that. That's going to be awesome. And then we're going to start looking at the turbocharger, and we're going to start pulling in all of the other parts. We've got some ARP stud kits coming in, and which I'm going to be reviewing. Not all that much to say about stud kits, but definitely I think it's kind of neat to take a look at different products as they come in. And then following that, we're hopefully going to by that time have somebody kick in and help out with the 2013 dual mass flywheel. Mine's going off to get resurfaced, hopefully here shortly. Once that's resurfaced, then it's going to be perfect for a new car, or not a new car, but a new clutch kit. And we'll have 260 millimeter beefiness underneath the, hooked up to the transmission. Then we're going to have conrods, pistons, and once all the parts are here and everything's good, we're going to do a quick little recap video about all the different parts that, that are going to be involved in this process. And following that, we're going to start tearing the motor out of the Genesis Coupe and going step by step. Hopefully you guys can learn a couple of things, and we're going to try and do some awesomeness, get some awesome stuff planned out, and hopefully this is going to be a pretty rockin' summer when it comes to modding a Genesis Coupe. You guys are going to learn a lot, so definitely stay tuned, and we'll cover everything that I come across.